Swami Swamin Namaste Natalokabandho Karunya Sindho Patitam Bhavabdho Mamuddharatmiya Kataksha Drishtya Rijvyati Karunya Sudha Bhivristya Swamin Namaste, Swamin Namaste, Swamin Namaste, Swamin Namaste. Jnanasvarupam nijabhavayuktam Anandamandakaram prasannam Yogindramidhyam Bhavarogavadyam Srimad Gurum Nityamaham Namami Srimad Gurum Nityamaham Namami Nityaya Satyaya Chidatmakaya Navyaya Bhavyaya Paratparaya Shuddhaya Buddhaya Niranjanaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. Actually, after the Navayogi and Nimi Samvada was over, I was thinking what I should speak. And last session, I had to speak on our Brahmadhama Yatra to Dakshin Khanda Purnashram. And again today I was thinking what I would speak. Now, while I was going through this King Nimi and Navayogi Samvada, at the end, we come to few slokas where it says, Bhakti should transcend the Bhakti disciplines and the Bhakti should become spontaneous. That is, there is no effort at all. One reaches that stage when there is no effort. One just loves God, is devoted to God. Wherever he looks, he finds God and God alone. Inside, outside, everywhere. And that situation, that stage or that state is such that one just becomes oblivious of everything. Whether he is working, whether he is eating, whether he is sitting, whether he is talking, whether he is keeping quiet, it is God and God alone. He feels that he is embraced by God. He feels a divinity always. In our everyday life, we do not feel the divinity. We feel it only at times. But when the devotion, it reaches its pinnacle, the state of a person, a devotee, becomes such that he feels that he is embraced by God every time, everywhere. Now, it is called Parabhakti. So when I was reading that, the last sloka maybe, last two slokas, I thought that this devotion, which is explained in Bhagavatam, in this King Nimi and Navayogi Samvada, I just remembered some slokas in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita where similar bhakti has been described, where the bhakti becomes spontaneous. It is in the 18th chapter. So I thought that from a devotional standpoint, from the devotional text, how the Yogi Prabuddha has explained and replied the question of King Nimi, that please tell us in a very simple manner, what are the disciplines by which we can attain liberation? And Yogi Prabuddha has been telling one after another so many disciplines, and ultimately he reaches and explains that state of parabhakti. That is from the standpoint of bhakti. But when it comes to the pinnacle, Jnana and Bhakti, it becomes the same. The devotion is enlightened by Jnana. And that is where we'll find a similarity in these shlokas in the 18th chapter. I'll take them. And as I was thinking, actually I had a plan to take it after those shlokas were over. And I thought that today I will do it. But again I was thinking that, when the time comes, since I am not taking a particular text, I always combine from various texts. Whatever I take in one text, I try to find out similar shlokas from other texts to confirm and to give a joy and delight to see that how everywhere it talks about the same thing. But still, I sometimes feel that I am talking the same thing again and again. And this is what knowledge is. Whatever we study, we hear, we read, we'll find the same thing is hammered into our head. And what we have understood so far, we have been taking these sessions for more than 2 years, 2.5 years, and we have been seeing that we are now having this knowledge, firm knowledge, that I am not the body, I am the soul which is eternal, imperishable. And that because of the wrong identification, that I think that I am the body, mind, intelligence, this I-ness and mindness causes all kind of suffering in us. And this wrong identification brings about desires in the mind, ego in the mind, possessiveness, fear, and those are the causes of our suffering. We have also understood what is the way out, how we can be liberated. In Vedanta, we have learned the Sadhana Chatushtayam, where we have to grow in Viveka, Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. We have to grow in Vairagya, Iha Mutra Phala Bhoga Viragaha. Then the Shamadamadi Shatka Sampatti, the sixfold qualities, restraining the mind, restraining the senses, forbearance, then withdrawal from the worldly attractions and constantly dwelling on Brahman, then Shraddha, that is having firm faith in the Shastras, the sacred texts and the word of the Guru, and ultimately with this knowledge constantly try to be in meditation and get into samadhi to realize the self within. We have also known that this self in one is the same self everywhere, and there is no difference. Jivo brahmaiva na paraha. Is the same self everywhere. There is this one without a second. This knowledge, I think, hearing and hearing and reading, we have got it into our head. And then came the question, how to do it? And why is it that we are not able to retain it? Why is it that we are not able to realize? What brings in the hindrances? And there comes the disciplines. In the devotional text in Bhagavatam, King Nimi has asked the questions. He goes to the extent saying that, please tell us, a person who has not much of intelligence, how that person will also realize and will get liberated. So the disciplines, it comes into the disciplines. We may be knowing of the supreme truth, the ultimate truth, but to go there, to realize it, every moment becomes a sadhana for us. How much we want to do the sadhana, how much we love the sadhana, how much we understand that the sadhana is to understand that this world with all its perishable objects is not going to give us permanent happiness, permanent fearlessness or unaffectedness. And we must seek that which will give us. And that is the knowledge of the self. That is the knowledge of our real identity. We are that, but we constantly forget it. And we get into all kinds of delusions, possessiveness, clinging, ego, desire, and whatnot. So, ultimately, in Bhagavad Gita also, what is Krishna telling Arjuna? He has told everything. And then he tells Arjuna, see, this is the 18.51 sloka. I'll read these few slokas first, and then one by one I'll try to explain. And you will find that as Namrata was saying, for 6 months I have been taking this Nimi-Navayogi Samvada with Prabuddha. And I think there are only 21 to 32. So about 10, 11 slokas are there. And everything talks about a discipline. And what is the discipline, mind you? If you have heard properly, or maybe you have read these slokas properly, you will find that it is nothing but to make our mind wholesome. Our mind is having so many kinds of attractions and desires. It likes this, likes that. And these disciplines are understanding that to realize God or to realize the self, which will give us this permanent happiness or peace, we have to withdraw from many of them. There will be responsibilities and duties which we have to do, but we have to discriminate very finely between what is necessity and what is a desire. And go ahead in bringing up and increasing, strengthening the qualities in the mind. Those qualities which make the mind quiet, calm, tranquil, and remove such traits from the mind which make the mind agitated and disturbed. And for this, we have always seen that we must constantly dwell upon the good qualities of the holy people, the Mahatmas, the realized people. We must think about them and try to follow them. So these are the slokas, 18.51 to 55. It says, Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamya cha shabdadin vishayan stiktva Raga-Dvesha vyudasya cha vivikta sevi lagvashi yatavakaya manasaha dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashritaha ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya nirmama shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. This is 51, 52, 53, 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Now, what does it say? It tells many things and then says that such a one is said to be fit to become Brahman. See, I am comparing. For 6 months it seems I have been doing this. And just to understand, discuss what are the disciplines or the steps so that we get liberated. We get one with the inner presence, the indweller. We get completely united and become that. That is the realization, when there is no difference. So here also, Krishna is telling Arjuna, Krishna has told him many things. You will find in most of the chapters he is talking of the qualities which we have to develop, cultivate, strengthen, so that our mind is having this Samatva bhava. The mind does not cling. Sangatyaga. Constantly he is talking about this. And also, at various places, he has told us the glories of that one Supreme. Why do we realize? Why do we want to realize God? Who is He? Who is this self? What is Brahman? So Krishna is telling this is His glory and you are a part of it. He is telling us constantly that you cannot control anything. Nothing belongs to you. Everything belongs to that Creator who has created this world, and you are one in that creation. So, work with a feeling of offering. Nothing belongs to you. The body, the instruments, everything belongs to that Creator who has given us the body and given us the capability to work, think, talk, everything. Every capability is given by Him. We cannot control it, we cannot change it according to our wishes. Even the work that comes our way, if we can think that every day something is coming, I may plan, but the plan doesn't get fulfilled. Sometimes hindrances come, sometimes hindrances do not come. Whether a hindrance will come, an obstacle will come, or whatever I have planned will become successful, really does not depend on me. So these things Krishna has been constantly discussing. And here he is saying that, O Arjuna, such a one becomes fit to become Brahman. That is, such a one. Who is that such a one? He has given out so many qualities and says that such a person who has these qualities, who has developed these qualities, will have self-realization or realization of Brahman. So ultimately, my dear children, we must know that this path is to transform oneself from that little puny, constricted, limited I. We have to become that expansive I, the universal self. And how will we do? To grow in the qualities. So what does he say? Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamyacha shabdadin vishayans tektva Raga-Dvesha ubhyudasya cha. So, buddhya vishuddhaya yuktaha. The buddhi should be integrated with pure intellect. Vishuddha buddhi. The intellect or intelligence should be pure. And dhrityatmanam niyamyacha. And the mind has to be regulated. By what? By one's will, one's resolve. I think we take resolve and we have will, we know that. But many times we are not able to apply it. Sometimes we are able to and sometimes we are not. My dear children, in this path, it is very, very necessary that we have a resolve. Just like when we study in our schools, colleges, higher studies, and when we are having a profession or we are in a business, we all have a resolve that I will try to shine more and more, to be better and better. Similarly, in this path also, that resolve is necessary. And dhrityatmanam niyamyacha, that is that resolve to regulate the mind. Why mind should be regulated? Because the mind will not like to think about the self. Or whatever our scriptures are telling us, the guidelines that we are getting from our scriptures, our gurus, even we understand that if we go this way, it will be easier. But the mind is so chanchala, so restless. The senses are such that it takes the mind away and takes it far away from within us. It shows us constantly, the senses are constantly showing us, see, there are so many things to enjoy, so many things to do. So what will you do thinking about your own self? And this contemplating on the self, its reward is not seen immediately. Whereas whatever the senses go into and interact, if we say a good food and we take it, we are happy. If we want to see something which is very nice to see, look at, and we do it, we are very happy. So immediate result is there. Though that happiness is short-lived. You know all this. That all the happiness, all the satisfaction that we get from the senses is short-lived. Maybe sometimes the duration is a little more, but it gets over. Adyantavantaha. They appear and disappear. Sometimes the disappearance is faster, sometimes the disappearance takes a little more time. So we feel that we are very happy. But it does get over. Now, this dhrityatmanam niyamyacha. So, in this path, to be able to be fit for understanding how we get this self-realization and to be constantly progressing in this path, what has to be done? Niyamya, atmanam niyamya. Regulate the senses, regulate the mind, and do not allow it to get fragmented to various things and have desires, possessiveness, etc. Instead, bring it inside. Start contemplating on God or Brahman. Start looking at everything, feeling that everything is God or self. That is, you withdraw the mind and constantly focus on the sadhana. The guideline that has been given, the knowledge which has been given, try to constantly bring back yourself onto the knowledge and feel it, get established into it. Let it become the system. Let it be completely dissolved into our blood. So, buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamyacha shabdadin vishayam stektva raga-dvesha vyudasyacha. So the vishuddha buddhi should be vishuddha. It should be very pure. Sattvika buddhi. The buddhi should be sattvika. Now, in 18th chapter itself, the sattvika buddhi has been defined in 30th verse. What does it say? Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha ya vetti buddhi sa partha sattviki. It says that, O Partha, Krishna is calling out Arjuna with this name, Partha. O Partha, that intelligence, that buddhi, intelligence, which is able to distinguish between pravritti, that is work which makes us involved in it, and nivritti, that is that work by which we have freedom from action. Then, which can distinguish between what is to be done, karya, and what is not to be done, akarya. That is a buddhi which tells us very clearly, it is very clear, it has got deep clarity and discriminative power to tell us that these are the work. If you keep on doing this, you will be only involved in work. Work after work, work after work, work after work. Your mind will be engaged into that, and you will not be able to take out the mind and think about the spiritual knowledge, even if you want to. Because as you increase your work, unless your buddhi is enlightened, you will not be able to work without clinging, without delusion. You will be constantly working and getting attached. You will be constantly having possessiveness, ego, etc. And these things will disturb your mind, agitate your mind, make the mind absolutely restless. So, how will you find the self within? So, what you have to do? Your buddhi should have that kind of clarity and discrimination so that it can understand that, should I do this work? Will it help me? Is it only for gaining property, wealth, name, fame, and there is no end to it? Or should I be satisfied with whatever is necessary for my life and give the rest of the time for my spiritual sadhana? That kind of clarity, a buddhi which has, is called sattvika buddhi, vishuddha buddhi. That is, it is able to understand between what is pravritti and what is nivritti. Even in nivritti, what is, suppose when you are doing a lot of work, that is, you are getting involved in work. Another is, you have finished your work, you have done whatever is your duty is, then you sit down for meditation for some time. That is also a nivritti from work. You stopped your work and you are now trying to get embraced by the inner Lord within yourself. But even then, suppose you feel that, oh, I am doing this, people will feel that I am a great person, or if everybody feels that I am a great spiritual person, then that is also not nivritti. So pravritti cha nivritti cha, when the buddhi has, the discriminative power is very, very clear, very, very sharp, that kind of buddhi is vishuddha buddhi, and it is a sattvika buddhi. Also, it must tell us what is a karya, what work we should do and what we should not do, and also what is to be feared and where lies fearlessness. What is to be feared? Remaining attached to everything brings about all kind of suffering. So, we should see to it. We should, with our buddhi, sattvika buddhi, vishuddha buddhi, discriminate and understand where lies our clinging, where lies our possessiveness, which will bring in fear of loss. When we are clinging to something, when we are attached to something, maybe that something is very dear to us. We have made lot of effort to get it, whether it is wealth, whether it is children, whether it is a house. We made lot of effort, and when the desire has been fulfilled, now you have got lot of wealth, or you desired for a child, you got a child, or you had desired for a house or a car, and with lot of effort you got it. Lot of happiness is there, but there is fear. Fear of what? Fear of losing it. The mind is not free of anxiety, free of fear. So, why it is so? Because we get attached, we get clung, we have possessiveness. We are not able to even share things with others. So the buddhi, which shows us clearly where we are going wrong, where is our attachment, where is our possessiveness, where is our ego, and where is our lack of discrimination, that buddhi is vishuddha buddhi, sattvika buddhi. Also, it says in the next line, bandham moksham chaya vetti, buddhi sa partha sattviki. Not only this, what is to be feared and where lies fearlessness, bhaya bhaye, what is bondage and where lies liberation. That buddhi is sattviki. In Viveka Chudamani, the Shishya goes to the Guru, and what does he say? He says that, what is that shloka? He says that ko nama bandha kathamesha agataha katham pratisthasya katham vimokshaha kosavanatma paramah ka atma tayor vivekaha kathametadutyatam. So the Shishya, he goes to the Guru. He does pranam and tells that I don't find any way. I feel that I am getting drowned. I feel that I am deluded, I am possessive, I am holding on to things. I feel that I lose them. So at times I feel that I am getting drowned. At times I feel that there is only darkness in front of me. And at times I feel as if I will be swept away by a storm. Please tell me how to go beyond this fear. Is there a way? Can you tell me? I feel that you are the one who can tell me. And he asks this question. What does he ask? Ko nama bandha kathamesha agataha. Wherefrom does the bondage come? That I always feel that I am bound. I am constricted. I am limited. I am not able to tear apart this constrictedness in me. Wherefrom this bondage comes? And on what does it subsist? And what is liberation? Katham vimokshaha. Kosavanatma katham paramah katma. What is paramatma? What is anatma? What is atma? I do not understand. Tayor vivekaha. Please discriminate and tell me what are all these. So the buddhi, see this, how does one start asking this question? When the buddhi becomes sharp, when the buddhi has sufficient vairagya in it, it has viveka in it, it is enlightened by the knowledge of the soul, the buddhi starts thinking one's own condition and feels that I am doing so many things. Maybe I am worshipping, I am reading, I am having a spiritual life also, but still I am bound. What is to be done? Please tell me. He goes to a Mahapurusha, a Mahatma, a Guru, and asks this. What is bondage? What is moksha? So the buddhi is Vishuddha buddhi, Sattvika buddhi, when the buddhi also starts asking what is bondage, what is liberation, and is able to understand why he is bound. That he is bound, even that viveka, it is like a torch showing in that darkness. Suppose something something has fallen from your hand. You had something, it has fallen, and it is a dark pathway. If you have a torch, you will immediately show a light, and you get the thing. You see it lying on the road. This buddhi, which tells us clearly what is our condition, and tells us this is bondage, this is moksha, this is where you are getting involved in work, this is how you are getting involved in ego and possessiveness, this is how you are fearful because of your clingings, and tells us this is bandha, and what is moksha tells us. Shabdadin Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamya cha shabdadin vishayans tektva raga-dvesha vyudasya cha. So Vishuddha buddhi is the Sattvika buddhi, which I was just now explaining. Pravrittim cha, nivrittim cha, karya karye bhaya bhaye, bandham moksham chaya vetti. Buddhi, sa partha satviki. Now, dhrityatmanam niyamyacha buddhya vishuddhaya yukta, 51st verse, Bhagavad Gita 18.51. Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamyacha, and regulate the mind with one's will. So the resolve, with a resolve, which also should be sattviki resolve. With the dhriti, we must regulate the mind. We should not allow the mind to go here and there. But supreme in the mind should be this self and self-realization, this path, how to progress in the path. Whatever we do throughout the day, we must remember that this is my goal, my aim, my priority. I love this. I have to do many work. I lovingly do those work. I do everything that is necessary with lot of love, lot of joy, with lot of effort. But in my mind, I have this feeling that I have an aim. And I know that I must understand and realize who am I. My real identity is what? That imperishable, eternal, unaffected identity I must realize, so that in the midst of every adversity, I'll be able to remain unaffected. This is our aim. So, the mind does not allow that. Mind just goes behind the senses, and mind takes us away, just like as in Bhagavad Gita it says, when the boat gets drowned, it says that if the mind goes behind any one of the senses, you are gone. You will be just drowned. So, one has to control and regulate the mind. And how can we do that? We can do that by taking resolve. And as I was saying in the beginning, taking resolve in our worldly life is easier. Taking resolve in our worldly life that I will study well, I will do well, then I will do higher studies, maybe sit for competitive exams or get into a job and make effort to go higher and higher in my profession. Those resolves are very common. Everybody has it. But the resolve, what are we studying here? We are studying a spiritual text. It is talking of a resolve for spiritual progress. As we have resolve in everything, this must be there, a resolve. What? That I will not allow my mind to go here and there. The mind should be such, under my control, under my regulation. Wherever I want to put it, it should remain there. That kind of a mind. Actually, this kind of a mind is necessary even in profession. Even in worldly life, it is necessary. But we do not know how to regulate it. Shabdadin vishayam stektva raga-dvesha vyudasya cha. So, Raga-Dvesha vyudasya cha. Shabdadin vishayan stektva. Give up sensory thrills like sound, etc., etc. Now, our senses are going everywhere. The sound, touch, color, taste, smell, through the ear, skin, eyes, tongue, and nose. Constantly creating impressions in our mind. So we should not cling to them. We should not deny them. It's not that we have to be like this. We do not want to enjoy anything. No. But we must know how to discriminate. We must know till what we should do. We must know what is conducive to our sadhana and what is not. And whatever impressions these bring to our mind, we should not cling to them. Say, we see a thing, an object. It's a very beautiful thing, and we feel I must possess it. If we keep on thinking about it, then if I don't get it, what will happen? There will be lot of disappointment, anger, and we know how the mind goes completely, it goes into a disaster. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. So, we should not cling to those impressions. Suppose we are able to, it's okay. Suppose we are not able to get it, that is also okay. That kind of samatva should be there. And whatever the senses bring to us, and suppose we have to deal with them, interact with them, enjoy those, we should not have likes and dislikes. That I like this and I do not like this. So, throughout we must have this discrimination, which right in the beginning we have seen the buddhi should be shuddha, viveka buddhi should be there. Then shabdadin vishayan tektva raga-dvesha vyudasya cha. And Raga-Dvesha. Raga-Dvesha also, this one we have only, what is the Raga-Dvesha? Likes and dislikes. And we all know that our mind is full of that. Full of that, and because of that only we suffer. Because of that also we do not progress well in our spirituality. We have very specific ideas, and if those specific ideas even about our spiritual path, we are not able to fulfill, we are upset. One should become natural, sahaja, swabhavika. So, worldly objects are very important and useful, indispensable. Thinking like this only we get into a clinging with objects. The whole day we are interacting with so many objects, places, people, situations, episodes, events. So many things are happening in front of us and with us. But we give importance to it. We feel some of the things are indispensable. We feel that it is very useful. So these impressions, we give so much of importance that we get this cause the clinging. And whatever we want, if it does not, we do not get it, we have dvesha, dislike. We have dvesha for people, we have dvesha for objects, some things we absolutely do not like, so our mind becomes very bitter about it. We do not like people or situations very, very strongly. So this raga and dvesha, it constantly creates agitation and disturbance in the mind. So what is to be done? We will definitely have raga and dvesha. What is to be done? Vyudasya cha. Leave them. Leave them. So raga-dveshau cha vyudasya, eschewing desire and dislike. How will we leave them? How will we eschew them? Again by the buddhi, sattvika buddhi. Discriminate. Is it right or is it wrong? Is it right to have such strong inclinations or strong clinging to something and strong dislike for something? Is it right to have these emotions which is affecting my mind? Can I not become a little neutral? So constantly tutoring the mind with this. My dear children, what are we doing? When we do these disciplines, actually we are dwelling in our spiritual progress. We are dwelling on our spiritual path. We are constantly watching ourselves, watching the smallness of our mind, the narrowness of our mind, and we are aspiring to have an expansion of our mind. And we are taking help of our buddhi, which is enlightened by this spiritual knowledge. which we have been reading, studying, contemplating, remaining associated with Mahatmas, constantly loving it, allowing our buddhi to be sharpened. What we do is watch yourself, assess yourself, analyze yourself. Are we like this? Krishna is telling Arjuna, these have to be done. Am I doing it? How much I am away from it? How much I fall from it? This is sadhana. This is sadhana. So, shabdadin vishayans tektva raga-dvesha vyudasya cha. This is 51. 52, he is saying so many other things. See. Vivikta sevi lagvashi yatava kaya manasaha dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashritaha ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya nirmama shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. I like these slokas very much. I think I have told you, many times that my life of the spiritual life which I have lived, even now living, I think it's full of sadhana and I have loved the sadhana. Wherever there is something, some guideline, some instruction, some help, some advice to transform myself, I've always liked it. I would not say that I have always been able to do it immediately, but I have loved it, aspired for it. And here, see, what Krishna is telling, I feel is very, very important for any spiritual seeker. And it's so simple, and simply worded. These are not very high concepts of Samatva, concept of Sangatyaga, concept of Naishkarmya, not all that, where we have to understand. This just we can do. And when we do this, we'll understand all those concepts very easily. That is, these disciplines should be done, developed, cultivated, and the buddhi will be engaged in various things which Krishna is trying to tell us. What is the self? He starts with that. The soul is imperishable. The body is perishable. He starts with that. Then he comes to Samatva. Then he comes to how one should act without clinging. How one should not have any clinging to the result of what one is doing. And like this he goes, then talks about God, His glory, that He is everywhere. And what not. Vivikta Sevi. What is Vivikta Sevi? Being given to aloneness, not crowd. One should love solitude, solitariness. If one is a seeker, one should love that. And whenever there is time, one should sit alone. Even if you are in a crowded atmosphere, crowded place, you should try to get some time out, sit alone. Why? Sit alone and look into oneself. Look into yourself. Find that one presence and find that presence everywhere. Looking at the atmosphere, the nature, the trees, the birds, the butterflies, the fruits, the flowers. How will we see that if we are constantly talking to each other? You know, our centers are there. Beautiful halls are there. Even in our ashram, there is a Samadhi Mandir. But I doubt the people who visit here how many go and sit there in solitude? Very few. When people come to the ashram, it's not always that you listen. Whatever you have listened, find out a place. If not the Samadhi Mandir, it's a very big ashram. Sit under some tree, some corner, and contemplate. Who is saying this? Krishna has told Arjuna, Vivikta Sevi, be fond of solitude. Be fond of solitude. Constantly do not talk. Lagvashi, eating but little. That is, eat very little. So Vivikta Sevi. Seekers love to be withdrawn and see, there are many things, One should be Vivikta Sevi. First I will say all these things and then I'll go deeper into it maybe the next time. So Vivikta Sevi, Lagvashi. What is Lagvashi? Eat moderately and eat pure food. Eat little, not too much. Don't fill your stomach so much that you have gas, acidity, or you don't feel very comfortable. Then you will not be able to concentrate at all. So Lagvashi should be. Yata vak kaya manasaha. Regulate the activities of your speech, vak. Vak is speech and kaya is body, manasaha, mind. So regulate the activities of speech, body and mind. I think in 17th chapter, Krishna has given the austerities of all these for the body, mind and bodies and speech and the mind. I think it is 17.14 to 14, 15, 16. 17.14, 15, 16. Beautifully. Manaprasada saumyatvam. So, this I have done actually earlier. In something or other I have done. And this and my dear children, they are very, very beautiful. Should not forget them. It should become, just like people wear good dresses and you decorate yourselves. You want to have good things around you. This should be your decorations, alankara. So, Lagvashi yata va kaya manasaha. Regulate your speech, your body and your mind. Regulate them. They should not be allowed to do whatever they like. You should be the master, controller. And you should be able to control them as you like. Like the car. Most of the people have cars. So they have to have a control over the car. If you do not have control over the car, whether it's a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, what will happen? Accidents. Similarly, you must have control and regulation over the body, not only body, speech and mind. Unless you have that, you will go nowhere, you will reach nowhere. Suppose you have a driver who is not having control over the car and just goes this way and that way, it will not reach the destination. On the way it will meet with an accident and end of it. Similarly, if you do not have regulation and control over your body, mind and your speech, even speech, this will be the result. What are we aiming at? We are aiming at self-realization. We may be reading a lot, we may be contemplating a lot, we may be studying a lot, we may be chanting a lot, we may be knowing the whole of Bhagavad Gita by heart. If you have not done this, then we are not fit for realization. As simple as that. As simple as that. Yata va kaya manasaha. So when we read this, we are reading it, and when we get into activity, we should remember it. For everything, every time we speak, we should understand, am I just speaking? We have got habit of speaking. If we are in a group, somebody has told about some incident, the mind will be constantly thinking whether you can also tell a similar incident. This is the nature of human beings. Always wants to speak. Unnecessary speech. And you go into other scriptures, all the scriptures, especially in Bhagavatam, so many places it is written that control your speech. All the energy goes away. What you should do? You should allow that energy to be given to thinking and dwelling on the Brahman or the self. So, yata vak kaya manasaha dhyana yoga paro nityam. Nityam dhyana yoga paraha. Constantly dwell in dhyana. What does it mean? Can we always be in dhyana? No. But we can think of the object of the dhyana. We are actually doing dhyana a lot of time. On whom? On children, grandchildren, especially those who have grandchildren. Their only dhyana is the grandchildren. How the grandchildren has talked, what the grandchildren has played, or how two words he has picked up, or two sentences he has learned. So dhyana will be the grandchildren, children and grandchildren. And also what is the dhyana? Dhyana is the wealth, property, possession, name, fame, prestige and all that. Our dhyana is that. And what does it say? Dhyana yoga paro nityam. So we may not be always doing contemplation sitting somewhere, but our mind should be dhyana mukhina. That is, mind should always find that divinity, that Brahman, the self, everywhere. My dear children, these are not disjointed knowledge. It's not disjointed. Why have I said this? Because when I say dhyana mukhinata, say I'm doing some work, or maybe I'm sitting, maybe I'm folding a cloth, or maybe I'm writing something. Wherever I am, I should feel that divinity. So the mind is inside a divinity. I'm doing the work which is necessary to be done, but not with agitated mind, not with anxious mind, not with a fearful mind, but with a divine mind. The mind has to become divine. It has to have that soaking of divinity in it. Dhyana yoga paro nityam. So it should have that dhyana yoga, dhyana yogata. Whatever we do throughout the day. Vairagyam samupashritaha. And take refuge in dispassion. Unless dispassion is there, nothing will happen. That is why in Sadhana Chatushtayam it is said, and we have done in Bhagavatam also, everywhere, dispassion. What is dispassion? You love spirituality, spiritual knowledge, self or Brahman. Your love for that, the knowledge about that, to know about that, to be one with that, that love grows so much. That love for many things which can be simply dissolved, removed from life. Unnecessary things, petty things, which will not give us any happiness ever. But we constantly deal with them in our mind. Constantly think about them. Things which have happened many, many years ago, we'll be constantly dealing with them. Or imagining some future thing, giving the time in that only. So, our time goes away. Here what it says, vairagyam samupashritaha. Have vairagya towards that. Anything that will not give us happiness, any happiness which is short-lived, we understand because we are growing in our knowledge, then leave those, remove those, renounce those. That is called the dispassion. Dispassion doesn't mean that you have to go to the forest. Dispassion means understanding by viveka that these things are not going to give me any kind of happiness or satisfaction. Maybe for a little while I can simply do without it. Do without it. But at the same time I can then turn towards a good thing. So vairagyam samupashritaha, that is in Bhagavatam it is said, bhaktihi viraktihi bhagavat prabodhaha. As the bhakti grows, virakti will grow. If your devotion towards God grows, naturally devotion towards the petty things will diminish. And when the devotion grows, then what will happen? Bhagavat prabodhaha. The God realization will take place. And in Vedanta or in Bhagavad Gita, if you are discussing, what is this? Bhakti. There also it is bhakti. Bhakti towards what? Towards the aim, towards the path, towards the resolve. Bhakti should be there. What is bhakti? An emotion where you consider that object of bhakti to be the supreme. So what is this object of bhakti here? In Bhagavatam we were seeing the object of bhakti is God. We have a form, imagined form, or even no form. The greatness of God, the glory of God. And here it is a self, it is Brahman, it is qualities, its attributes, and what we will get, what we will be in our life if we know that we are that, the real identity. So that bhakti towards it, that emotion, the one-pointed emotion towards this path is the bhakti. So vairagyam samupashritaha. So here also, when we have that total bhakti, one-pointed bhakti, wholesome bhakti towards the aim of self-realization, what will happen? Viraktihi. Naturally, dispassion will take place. You will find that you used to spend so much time doing this or that. All those are falling off, not giving you joy anymore, because your joy is here now. You still be doing all your duties and taking up all your responsibilities, but there are many things in our life which we do unnecessarily. Those will fall off. Many associations will fall off. Some friends, the associations with those friends were never elevating the mind. Those friends will fall off. Such friends who are like-minded, you will find new friends are coming. New disciplines in life will come up. You will find many things you are doing which is conducive to your sadhana. You will be able to understand it yourself, even if you are not told by somebody. So, that is vairagya. Vairagya means you have not gone away to the caves or forests or to ashrams, not like that. So, vairagyam samupashritaha, take full refuge, take ashraya in vairagya, understanding that this world is not going to give any happiness, short-lived happiness. Ahankaram, balam, darpam, kamam, krodham, parigraham, vimuchya. And one must remove this. Muchya means parigraham, vimuchya, abandon, cut. What? Ahankaram, that ego and pride. Balam, a feeling that I am great, I have lot of strength, I have got strength of money, I have got strength of property, I have got strength of my qualification, I have strength of my people around me, the prestige that I have, people giving respect to me, all that is my strength. Remove that. have no ego. Darpam, that is, you have arrogance. I have this, I have that, I can do this, I can do that. That arrogance. Then kamam, lust, greed, desire, all those you should remove. Then krodham, and anger, irritation, hatred, all these things, finding fault with others, criticizing others, grumbling constantly on somebody, all these things. Parigraham, what is parigraham? Constantly gather things and keep for yourself. So all these things, ahankaram, balam, darpam, kamam, krodham, parigraham, vimuchya. Why is he saying vimuchya? Because all these traits make the mind dissatisfied, agitated, afflicted at times, anxious at times, fearful at times, naturally restless and disturbed. And the self cannot be seen, revealed. When the mind is restless, the mind has to be absolutely still so that we can see. Just like a mirror which is no dust, it is very well polished, we can see ourselves clearly. It is like that. Nirmamaha, and always know I possess nothing. Nothing. All this our problem is that I feel that with this body, mind, intelligence, I am this and I possess all the things. All the things that we possess, I feel very happy with it. Everything belongs to me. And that possessiveness creates problem in the mind. So first the I-ness, I am this person, and so many things I have. So many things I possess. That mindness gives all suffering. So have no possessiveness. How will you do that? Knowing that everything is given by that divine, supreme. Nothing belongs to me. I have no control over anything. No control. And shantaha. Be shantaha. How will you become shantaha? One will become shanta, but peaceful, tranquil, only when there is no desire in the mind. No desire. Desire alone makes the mind very, very turbulent and disturbed. Small desires. As I always say, it need not be a very big desire to, possess crores and crores of rupees, or so many houses, so many cars. Not like that. Or so much name, fame, etc. Simple desire. It eats us. We want love from everybody. We want to be talked to in a loving manner. We want others to be considerate, understanding to us. And when these do not happen, we crumble. We feel sorry. We feel very much disturbed and afflicted. So desire, it may be gross desires, it may be very subtle desires. Desires are something which makes the mind absolutely restless. Shantaha. In Viveka Chudamani it says, Nirindhanaivanalaha. Like when a fire is burning, the fire will burn only till the time the fuel is there. If the fuel is over, the fire will not burn. It will get put off completely. So because of the fuel, the fire was burning. Now, similarly, what is the fuel for our mind's restlessness? Desire. So when there is no desire, the mind will become restful. So Krishna has listed out so many things, and saying that if you do this, if you have this, if you have disciplined yourself, or you have got into a pursuit so that you have developed all these things, then Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Such a one is said to be fit to become Brahman. You can realize yourself. See, in 3 shlokas, it gives the full sadhana, what you have to do. But in every chapter he has described so many things and gone into detail, but this is the gist. Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamya cha shabdadin vishayan styaktva raga-dvesha vyudasya cha vivikta sevi lagvashi yatavak kayamanasaha dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashritaha ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya nirmamasyanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. I think we should by heart these 3 shlokas, and as we get up in the morning till the time we sleep off, we can see how much we are doing or how much we have attained, how much we have yet to attain, and that will be very, very interesting. Then he says, 2 more slokas, Brahma bhuta prasannatma. Here in these 2 slokas, he is talking about when one attains Brahman, then what happens? Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. Vishate tadanantaram. You know what he says? Brahma bhuta, I just tell the meaning and then I'll take it next time. It says, Brahma bhutah prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. So first he says, if you have these qualities, then you are fit to become Brahman. And suppose somebody has had the qualities, then he becomes Brahma bhutah. He becomes Brahman. That is, he is united with that universal self, Brahman. He now finds Brahman and Brahman or the self everywhere. There is no bheda. Abheda it becomes. But that still, with that realization the person lives. What is his state then? Prasannatma. He is absolutely prasanna, cheerful, ever cheerful. Na shochati na kankshati. Neither he grieves nor he craves for anything. Samas sarveshu bhuteshu. He sees equal everywhere. Equalness. Sarveshu bhuteshu samaha. In everything he finds the same presence, the same self, same Brahman. There is no second. Everything is the same. And when he is like that, effortlessly, madbhaktim labhate param, he attains para bhakti, supreme bhakti, supreme devotion. And when he has the supreme devotion, he knows the Supreme fully. What is this Supreme? The Brahman. Who is it? What it is? Where is it? What is it is to be one with it. And in essence he knows, and he enters into the Supreme. Enters into the Supreme means he gets dissolved in the Supreme. His separate identity doesn't remain. He lives, but with that kind of an experience, realization. Not different from the Supreme anymore. He still lives, he still has activities, he still talks, but with that kind of a feeling. Like, I had told you earlier also, one girl from somewhere in UK, she had come. She came and she wanted to ask Swamiji certain questions, and then in that she asked, "Do you know the self?" Then Swamiji said, "I know only the self." It was so nice to hear. That is what the self-realized people are, the Jivan Muktas are. They see self everywhere, into everything. They may be having the human form, but their thoughts, their actions, their speeches, their ideas, everything will be only emanating from that spiritual knowledge, that oneness with the self. Unless the people who are interacting, they are of that state, they will not be able to understand. They will feel that, oh, he's behaving like a human being. But that doesn't matter. He becomes one with Brahman. Sampurnam Jagadeva Nandanavanam Sarvepi Kalpadrumaha Gangam Vari Samasta Vari Nibaha Punya Samasta Kriyaha Vacha Prakrita Samskrita Shruti Shiro Varanasi Medini Sarva Avasthitirasya Vastu Vishaya Drishti Parabrahmani Sarva Avasthitirasya Vastu Vishaya Drishti Parabrahmani. Jai Guru, Jai Guru.